Well, I'm so excited about this. We have NASA astronaut Nick Hague with us this morning to talk about his work on the International Space Station, his research in space, as well as his newest mission that takes him here to the Bay Area. Welcome, Nick. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mary. Thrilled to be here.
So let's talk about what brings you here to the Bay Area.
Yeah, so I just recently returned from my mission on the space station, and so part of the the outreach aspect following your mission is to go out, and so we've got a team from NASA, the International Space Station National Lab, and myself are out here, and we're trying to help connect researchers and developers to opportunities to do research on the space station. It's something that research in space seems so far out there that it might seem impossible, but there's this unique platform and there's opportunity to do it. And so what better way to do that than come here, spend a week in Silicon Valley and talk to everybody.
Yeah, especially cutting edge technology here in Silicon Valley. To come here to reach out to researchers, to leaders in that field is incredible. And your journey in space is amazing. To know your first mission, an emergency landing, talk about that. What was going through your head?
Well, it's the last thing you ever expect to happen, but you prepare for it. So we had trained, I've trained with Alexei Ovchinin, who was my commander in that crew. We had trained for a year and a half in every conceivable kind of failure that could happen. So that very event we had trained for before.
Okay. All right.
Though it was one time and 8 months before it happened, we had at least gone through the procedures. And so when it happens, you kind of revert back to that training. And so the emotion, the excitement, the fear, and all of that stuff, you just kind of compartmentalize and you focus on, let's do this procedure, let's work together, let's figure out how to get out of this alive.
Yeah.
And then it's after you're sitting next to your capsule on the parachutes of the rescue jumpers that came in to get us, and then that's when it kind of washes over you, and you're like, the emotions start to come out, and you're like, whew, that was close.
Yeah, what just happened there?
Yeah, exactly.
So are you free falling, and then your parachute launches?
So what happened was about 2 minutes into the launch, we're pointed up, going about 4,000 miles an hour, and the first stage, the empty fuel tanks, if you will, we're trying to throw those away because it's just dead weight.
Okay.
And so instead of successfully throwing all 4 of them away, one of them collided with the core stage and punctured the rocket. And so that caused it to lose structural integrity and everything started coming apart. And so that all happened in about a quarter second.
Wow.
And then when that happened, the escape system on top of the rocket sensed that something was going wrong, and so it fired its own rockets and pulled us away to safety. And so at that point, we just are kind of like a ball thrown up into the air. We coast up to the top of our trajectory, which was about 95 kilometers, and then we come back down under parachute, just like you would for a normal landing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you got a second chance.
Yeah, 5 months later, I was strapped back into a rocket trying again.
Wow.
It was a pretty thrilling, experience. It was important because what we're doing up there is so important, and so it makes it easy to say that, hey, accepting this risk, it's all worth it because what we're trying to accomplish for humanity up there.
Did you have second thoughts about wanting to do it again, or?
No, it was definitely one of those things where, I've got a family, and it's probably the most hardest thing is for the family to sit there and watch you launch again.
Sure.
And so I knew that we needed to come back, and I needed to talk with my wife. I needed to talk with my kids and have that discussion so that the whole family was on board with trying this again. But like I said, it's easy to find the reason to do it.
Yes.
Because the idea that we're up there and we're discovering new things that are going to help people on the ground, whether that's figuring out what causes Alzheimer's so we can create a cure for that, or whether it's developing new materials that are going to improve life on the ground, or it's developing those systems that are going to help us push further into space when we go back to the moon. What we're doing up there is just really important.
I think a lot of people don't think about all of the research that goes into being on the International Space Station, things that we may not be able to do on Earth because of zero gravity and all of that.
Yeah, so it's really so fundamental. You get up there and the thing I'd like to do to demonstrate space is just take water and squirt it out into the air and you just watch it dance in front of you. But that's the reason we're there, because I can let that water float for longer than a few seconds, which is the most we can do here on the ground. And so it just floats there for as long as I want it to. And so by removing gravity, we can really understand the nuances of everything around us, and that's where the discovery happens, is in understanding those finer points. And so we did almost 350 different investigations while I was on board for my 200 days, and it ranged from everything from trying to doing genetic sequencing and doing some editing to 3D printing, trying to start 3D printing human organs.
Wow.
Trying to look at making new materials, new rubbers that we can use in the automotive industry, or looking at fiber optics, so trying to improve their quality. So we're looking at this wide spectrum of things, and I'm lucky to be the engineer that had no training in any of this, but I get to be the hands and the eyes and the ears for the scientists and the teams on the ground that are really making the discoveries.
That's amazing. Were there times during your research where you're like, whoa, I can't believe I'm seeing this?
Yeah, the 3D printer for the organs.
Yeah.
So we're trying to print human tissues, because on the ground, that I talked about water floating. Well, up there, on the ground, it's really tough to lay down these very delicate tissues and like vascular structure on top of layer on top of layer. And so up there, I don't have to worry about it getting squashed. And so we installed this 3D printer, and then I loaded it up with ink, and I watched it go to work, and I'm like, this is just crazy. This is stuff that you heard about in science fiction when I was growing up, and I'm watching it happen in front of me. Yeah.
That is so cool, and I love seeing your passion.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's one of the best things about the whole experience was putting on the headset and getting to talk to the investigator, the scientist, the researcher, the developer on the ground, as I'm working with their instrument, and they're guiding me through how to do it correctly, and we're discovering this together, and that sense of being connected to that team, whether it's somebody here in the U.S. or it's international. So I could be connected to somebody in Europe or in Asia, and you just feel this sense of we're doing this together.
I love it, like a team.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is so great. What do you think your biggest lesson that you learned from all of this was?
Well, there's so many lessons, right? So the first with the abort is you never know what life's going to throw at you.
True. Yeah.
And so you've just got to be. You're going to be defined by how you respond to what life does throw at you. And it doesn't have to be an abort. Everybody, experiences hardships in their life. And so how you bounce back from that is a lesson that you walk away with for sure. The other one is just this idea that what we can accomplish when we work together. It's an international program. We've got 19 different countries that have sent crew members there. There's over 2,800 different scientific investigations that have happened from 108 different countries. And so this is really a mission that unites humanity.
The whole world.
You bet.
I love it. What's your favorite planet?
The one we're on,
yeah,
absolutely.
Me too.
The perspective you get is unbelievable. And the more people we could get to see and experience that perspective, the better off I think we would all be. And so on that line, we're accepting applications starting next week.
Okay, all right.
If you want to be an astronaut,
sign me up.
submit your application.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, so through the month of March, we're going to be accepting applications, and these are for the Artemis program. We're going back to the moon. This is your chance to throw in an application to go walk on the moon.
Wow. I mean, that perspective must be incredible, that vantage point to look at Earth. What did you take away from that coming back here?
So it challenges you in so many different dimensions. So you see the Earth below.
Yeah.
And you can see the depths of space. And so during the daytime, you really focus on the ground. And so daytime, every 45 minutes, it's sunset or sunrise. And so you're switching from day to night every 45 minutes. And so when it's daytime out, you can look down and you can see so much. I can look and I can see just out one window to one side. I can see everything from San Diego all the way to Vancouver. And so you just get this sense of scale, and you see that it's so connected. It's this vibrant organism that we're part of. And you can see, I was up there during Hurricane Dorian. And so we took all kinds of photos of Hurricane Dorian, and you could see that. And from up there, it's just this massive, so peaceful, mesmerizing. It's just this big fluffy pancake sitting on the atmosphere.
Big cyclone.
And you can stare down the eye of it and see the ocean right through it. But you know how destructive it is. And so you get this sense of just the power of the environment. But then again, you can also see the human impacts on the planet, and flying over the rainforests in South America and seeing deforestation or seeing fires. It really, for me, the impact was, I know that the Earth is very precious, and we need to do everything we can to protect it.
We do. We need to protect it. We need to take care of it.
It's all we got, because when the sun goes down and the Earth goes dark and all those stars come out, you get a sense for how big it is.
Yeah.
But yet the only thing that we know where there's stuff alive is this one little spot.
Yeah.
And it's ours. So yeah, the sense of ownership went way up during the mission. Yeah.
I loved talking with you. Thank you so much for coming by.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Nick.
Thanks, Mary.